Hi all, welcome. I'm Camila, and for those who don't know me, and today we're going to do a fire flow. For those who haven't done any of my fire flows, they are pretty intense. Hello Ramona, this is Ramona who wants to play 24/7. And they're pretty intense, pretty dynamic. We usually start with core, and for today's class we're going to get the whole body active, heated, and hopefully warmed up. So get ready, we're going to start in Shavasana, laying down on our mats. Mona. So come into just a passive Shavasana pose as we completely melt onto the ground. Maybe closing our eyes if it feels right, if not, just soft gaze. Taking a moment to ground ourselves before we enter in the more dynamic part of class. Setting the tone for the rest of the class, even though we will be moving more and probably focused more on the physical aspect of the class when it's stronger, more dynamic. We always want to have the intention to bring ourselves back to this place, this mental space, clarity, calm, ease. Taking one deep inhale in through the nose, sighing it all out through the mouth. If you have your eyes closed, gently opening them. And we're going to make this an active laying pose. So gently, we're going to take all toes to face up towards the ground as the femur bone rolls inward. Lifting the quads up as we gently activate the quads, pushing through the heels. Palms of the hands facing up towards the ceiling. And the low ribs tying in together slightly. So there's a slight activation of the low belly. And from here, sensing as if you were standing on the ground. So that same activity is going on in the body. And gently bringing both knees into the chest, giving yourself a big hug. Taking the right ankle over the left thigh, a figure four laying down. And we're going to take our hands behind the left thigh as we bring in the left thigh in towards our chest. And with the right elbow, we push the right knee to open, feeling that outer hip opening. Releasing the hands, arms next to the torso on the ground, keeping the legs as they are, trying to keep the knee in the same place in space. You're going to lift the ankle off of the thigh and feel the outer glute engage to keep the ankle lifted, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Placing the ankle again over the thigh, opening your arms up out to the side, letting the legs fall over towards the left as you look over towards the right. Letting the knee fall towards the ground as well. An easy twist, warming up the spine as we get started. And gently coming back through center. Other side, taking the left ankle over the right thigh as you pull in the right thigh into your chest. Pushing the knee away with the elbow, opening the hip. trying to take the focus where we're doing the opening. So we're not over tensing in other parts of the body. We're not compensating by clenching the jaw or the shoulders, the sides of the neck. Those areas are relaxed. And gently releasing the leg, taking your arms up onto the mat, lifting the left ankle out from the thigh, and trying to keep the knee open. Feeling the outer glute, the psoas, activate. So all those muscles around the hip. For 2, and release, placing the ankle once again over the thigh, opening the arms out to the side, releasing the legs on towards the right side as you look over towards the left. Making sure both shoulders remain on the ground. And coming back through center. Getting ready to do a bit of core, which I always love to do at the beginning of my classes, because once we warm up the center, the core of the body, as it indicates, sort of we're warming up the whole body. So I like to warm up from the inside out. That's how I think of it. So we're going to start with our legs lengthened out towards the ceiling. It's okay if they're slightly bent because you're not open in the backs of your legs. And you're going to place both arms next to the torso. 2 options here. First option, a little lighter, a little more friendly. Scissor one leg down and switch. Option 2, we're going to do 12 in total. Keep the legs together and pushing the belly button down towards the ground, lower both legs at the same time. If you're doing the alternating legs, make sure you switch after 6. If not, continue with me, lowering the legs to hover over the ground and lift. Make sure the low back doesn't lift as you lower your legs. Continue at your own pace. Try to make the movement gentle and slow, so you're not just rushing through these exercises, but you're bringing awareness to that part of the body that's active. 4 more. Last one. Taking your legs up towards the ceiling, bringing both the knees into the chest. Lengthening the left leg out towards the front to hover over the ground so you're not placing the leg on the mat. Lengthening the arms along the legs, lifting the shoulders off of the mat. And we're going to switch legs that you hug in towards your chest. Keeping your arms long. Inhale and switch. And switch. We're going to do 16. Trying to keep the sides of the neck long, lifting the shoulders up towards the ceiling instead of forward. So you're not crunching forward. Continue. 8 more. And last one. Hug it in, bringing both knees into the chest. Take a breath. Now, so for those who have done this before, have taken classes with me, when we come up, we rock and roll all the way up. What we're going to try to do is do that and stop ourselves up here, coming into Navasana. And then for just one breath, tucking the knees in, roll, and hold. We're going to do that 8 times. Knees into the chest, roll, coming up. 7. Trying to keep the spine long once you come up. Feel the belly. Stop yourself when you come into Navasana. Last 2. Last 1, and hold in Navasana. For 5, trying to feel the sits bones grounding, crown of the head lengthening. For 3, 2, and release down onto the mat, coming into a kneeling position. Preferably placing the backs of your feet on the ground. You're going to lengthen your arms forward, making sure you're pushing the pelvis forward so you're not sitting into your hips or almost as if you're sitting down. You want to do quite the opposite. Press the hips forward, arms long towards the front of the mat, and hinging at the knees, back and forward. We're going to do 12. You're beginning to warm up all those big groups of muscles. And in these repetitive motions, try to bring that awareness to the breath, keeping the movement conscious and aware. So we're not just doing them for doing them. We're bringing purpose to the movement. Last one. And push yourself back through center. Coming into a gentle, brief kneeling position, letting the sits bones come onto your heels, knees together, hands gently over your thighs. Belly button in and up so you feel your spine long. The low back isn't arching or rounding. The crown of the head is lengthening. Maybe closing your eyes briefly. Gently tracing your spine with each breath. With each inhale, lowering the attention along the spine, and each exhale, bringing the attention all the way up. Feeling the space that your spine creates when it's long, the space throughout the whole body. It's almost as if it expands the whole body. And gently blinking your eyes open, taking your hands in front of you, shoulder width apart, knees hip width apart, tabletop position. Lengthening the right leg back, placing all toes onto the mat, pushing through the ankle, opening the back of the leg. And coming back through center, keeping the right leg lengthened, lift the left arm next to the ear. Feel free to stay here as you find evenness in both sides of the body, or lift the back leg, keeping the belly engaged so the low back doesn't arch. Inhale, and on the exhale, bringing the elbow towards the knee under you, crunch. 5 more. Lengthen and crunch. Continue. 3 more. Last one, and we'll all meet with arm and leg lengthened. Lowering the arm, lowering the leg. Tabletop position. From here, same leg, we're going to take it out to the side, sort of like a dog on a fire hydrant. So opening the right leg out to the side, trying to bring the knee to hip height. And lower, keeping the torso facing down. And do that 5 more times. 6 in total. And lower. Try to move at the rhythm of your breath. That's always a good trick to keep the movement mindful. Last two. And last one, lower through center, lengthening the left leg back towards the back of the mat. Pushing through the heel, opening the back of the left leg. And letting that go as you come, bringing your shoulders over the wrists, taking the right arm next to the ear. Maybe staying here or lifting the left leg up. If you're lifting the leg, make sure that once you lift, the low back isn't arching and the hips remain squared. And then the next exhale, elbow towards the knee, under the torso, rounding the back and lengthen. And crunch. And lengthen. 4 more. Last 2. Last one, lengthen it all out. We'll meet here and gently lower the right hand, lower the left leg. Fire hydrant on the other side, keeping both hands under the shoulders, torso facing down, opening the left leg out to the side and lower. Open and lower. 4 more. Last one. And lower. Placing all toes onto the mat, coming into your first down dog of the class. Taking a second or so to do whatever feels right before we hop into the meat of the class. Gently coming into a steady down dog. We're going to separate our feet a little wider than hip width. As we walk our hands back, lowering the hips, coming into Malasana. Hands in front of the heart. One deep breath in. Again, trying to track the spine with the inhale and the exhale. Gently placing your hands back down, walking it back out, downward facing dog. Lifting the right leg up towards the ceiling, opening the hip, bending the knee. Taking the right heel towards the right glute. And closing it off, bringing the right knee into the nose, placing the foot between both hands. Lifting both arms next to the ears, we're going to lift the torso 30 degrees. So almost as if it were one straight line from the back heel to the tips of the fingers, and hold. Right hip crease pulls back, keeping the hips squared and even. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and lower the hands down. Step the right foot back, plank pose, downward facing dog. Other side, lift the left leg up. Open the hip, bend the knee. Taking the left heel towards the left glute. Gently closing it off, bringing the left knee into the nose, slowly with control, place a foot between both hands. Lengthen the arms next to the ears. Feel that line of energy from the heel to the fingertips. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and lower. Take the left leg back, plank pose. Shifting the hips up, downward facing dog. Separating your feet a little wider than hip width. Walking your hands back once again, Malasana. This time you're going to lengthen the arms next to the ears. In Malasana, if you're in your tiptoes because you can't place the heels onto the mat, that's fine. Trying to keep the long spine wherever you are. You're going to lift 1 inch off the ground and hold. For 5, 4, belly button in and up. We're not arching the low back. 2, and lower. Walking the hands back out, downward facing dog. Feet hip width apart. Sits bones reaching up towards the ground. And we're going to begin warming up with a couple of vinyasas. Adding on to them. So step by step following me. Shift the shoulders on over the wrists, lowering the knees, chest, chin as you slide through cobra. Elbows tucked in towards the torso. Flipping the feet, the toes, lifting up downward facing dog. Here we go. Shift shoulders over the wrists, plank pose. Either knees on the mat or not, lower halfway, chaturanga. Flipping the toes, cobra or up dog. Flipping the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Lower halfway and hold, chaturanga. Push yourself back up, plank pose. Lower halfway, chaturanga, cobra or up dog, downward facing dog. Walking the hands back towards your feet, fold over the legs, bending the knees as much as you need, grabbing opposite elbows, letting the torso hang heavy. And gently release the arms. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, forward fold. Coming all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. Walking towards the front of the mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold, and come all the way up, back to standing, hands in front of the heart. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, keeping the hips over the heels, not shifting them back. Hinge over. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head, lift halfway, long spine. Exhale, forward fold, coming all the way up in the inhale. Hands in front of the heart. Last one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold, Uttatasana. Inhale, arms all the way up and in front of the heart. We'll continue with 3 Surya Namaskar A's. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Getting the blood pumping. Inhale, lift halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or float back through your vinyasa. Meeting in downward facing dog. 3 breaths. And in the exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step or float towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, forward fold, coming all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. 2 more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, step or hop through your vinyasa. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And on the exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step or float towards the front of the mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Lifting all the way up to standing, hands in front of the heart. Last one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands next to the feet, step or float. Upward facing dog, meeting in downward facing dog. And in the next exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step or float towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold, coming all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. We'll continue meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant the hands next to the feet, step or float through your vinyasa. Feel free to skip them once they're beginning to look sloppy, or modify to make it a little more accessible. And now from down dog, we're going to shift back into plank, lowering onto our forearms, forearm plank. We're going to hold here for 3. Don't let the hips sink down, belly button and low ribs are tying in together. And you're going to shift onto your right arm, coming onto the edge of the right foot. Bringing the arm parallel to the front of the mat. And left arm either on the hip, lengthened up. As you push the hips up, holding for 3, 2, and switching sides, placing the left forearm onto the ground, coming onto the left edge of the foot. Lifting the hips, making sure the right hip is over the left, holding for 3, 2, and back into forearm plank, both forearms onto the ground. Shifting the hips up, pushing the chest back, walking the feet in slightly, Dolphin Pose. Bending the knees to really lengthen through the crown of the head and the sits bones. Sits bones reach up towards the ceiling. Heart reaches back. And gently pushing yourself up, trying to do it with both forearms at the same time, downward facing dog. Inhale, and on the exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step or float towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, forward fold, coming all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. Almost done with the warm-up. We're going to continue with Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, Uttatasana, chair pose. Dropping the hips, shifting the knees back. Low ribs tying in together, holding for 5 full rounds of breath. Next, exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, step or float back through plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, down dog. Inhale, right knee into the nose, placing the foot between both hands, lowering the back foot at a 30-degree angle, prepping for warrior 1. As you lift the torso, making sure the back edge of the back foot is pressing down, and lower the hands down. Step the right foot back, plank pose. Either skip your vinyasa, or if you want to keep building heat, lower halfway. Up dog, down dog. Other side. Left knee into the nose, placing the foot between both hands as gently as possible. Lowering the back heel, warrior 1. Back edge of the back foot presses down. And then the exhale, lower the hands down. Step the left foot back. Lower halfway, chaturanga. Up dog, down dog. Inhale.
And on the exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step or float towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold, Uttatasana, chair pose. For one breath. And lengthen it out, bringing the hands in front of the heart. Let's continue. Inhale, Uttatasana, chair pose. Shifting the weight towards the right foot, lifting the left heel towards the glute. With control, lengthening the left leg back, reaching back, coming into Crescent Lunge. Make sure the back leg is a little bent to keep both hips squared. Arms are long. Placing the right hand onto the right hip, reaching the left hand over towards the right. Opening the left side of the body. And back through center, lengthening the right arm up. We're going to step the left foot back to meet the right, coming into chair pose once again. Keeping the hips low. Other side. Weight onto the left leg, lifting the right heel towards the right glute. With control, lengthen the right leg back. Crescent Lunge. Belly button in and up, taking the left hand onto the left hip, reaching the right arm towards the left. Nothing that builds more heat than chair pose, so. Coming back through center, both arms long towards the ceiling. Step right foot to meet the left, chair pose. Last one, promise. And lengthen the legs, bring the hands in front of the heart. We'll continue meeting in down dog. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, forward fold. Stepping or floating through your vinyasa or just stepping back into down. We'll meet in down dog as we step the right foot between both hands. Keeping the right hand where it is, we're going to roll the back heel down for warrior two, so it's parallel to the back of the mat. And we're going to lengthen the left arm next to the ear, coming into extended side angle. Feel free to place a forearm on the thigh if that's what feels best. Reaching the crown of the head forward. Inhale. And coming up into warrior two. Holding here for a couple breaths. Looking over the middle finger of the right hand. Inhale. And on the exhale, windmill your hands down onto the mat, popping the back heel up towards the ceiling. We're going to wiggle the right foot outside of the right hand. Either keeping the back knee high, it's a little deeper if you do that, or lowering it. We're going to come onto our forearms for lizard. Holding here. Both hips are facing down. We're not splurging the hips out to open. And gently pressing back onto your hands as you wiggle the right foot between both hands to step back, either directly into your down dog or through your vinyasa. Other side. Stepping the left foot between both hands, lowering the back heel so the front foot is perpendicular to the back. Keeping the left hand where it is, extended side angle, right arm next to the ear. The torso lengthens, we're not just collapsing over the thigh. Left hip crease reaches back for 3, 2, and inhale, warrior two. Looking over the middle finger of the front hand. Keeping the bend in the front leg. Feel the fire in that thigh. And windmill your hands down, popping the back heel up, wiggling the left foot outside of the left hand as you lower onto lizard. If the forearms is too much, you can always place a knee down and stay on your hands. If not, knee up onto your forearms. Feeling that front of the hip releasing. And pressing back onto your hands as you wiggle the left foot between both hands. Stepping back, plank pose, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Right knee into the nose. Hold here with as much control and belly power. Place a foot between both hands. If it doesn't reach, assist it with your hand. From here, 30-degree lunge. That's what I call when we lift the torso 30 degrees. And it's almost as if the crown of the head, we're pulling you forward. And keep feeling that as if it were pulling you forward as you come into warrior 3, lengthening the standing leg. Maybe keeping a mini bend to keep the hips squared and find more stability. As you push through the back heel, arms next to the ears. Hold. And back through 30-degree lunge, lowering the hands down onto the mat. Step it back to do the other side. Step the left foot between both hands. Hold and place it with as much control as possible. Both arms next to the ears, lift the torso 30 degrees. Feel as if you were being pulled so much that the back leg begins to lift. Lengthening the standing leg. Back toes are facing down. Hold for 3, 2, and place the back foot down, 30-degree lunge. Lowering the hands, we'll meet in downward facing dog. In this down dog, take a couple seconds to realign with your breath. A way to connect breath. We use the breath to connect mind and body. Is again tracing that breath through the spine. Visualizing each inhale, lengthen the spine. And each exhale going along the spine all the way out through the mouth. And gently separating your feet a little wider than hip width. Once again, walking your hands back. Malasana. As you drop your hips, hands in front of the heart. Pressing the elbows against the inside of the knees, opening the hips, crown of the head lengthening. Right arm, right hand going down inside of the right leg, opening up towards the left. Left arm reaches up. Feel free to stay here, or feel free to try going for the bind. Always as you bind, we're looking to open, so we're not closing in to reach a little further. Instead, we're opening as we reach for the left hand behind us. Lengthen once again. Almost as if you want to create space between each vertebrae. And back through center. Hands in front of the heart, other side. Left arm inside of the left leg, reaching the right arm up, opening the chest out towards the right as you push the left inside of the leg out to twist a little deeper. Feel free to stay here, or if you tried the bind on the other side, try it on this side. Reaching for the right hand Opening the right shoulder. And back through center. Feel free to stay in Malasana, or if you want to go for the arm balance, we're going to do crawl. We're going to take a little bit of time for everyone to play in this pose. Play a little bit. Feel free to make it your own. If you want to take it to one-legged crawl, whatever, make it yours. For those who have never done crawl, I'm going to do it step by step. So hands shoulder width apart, making sure we're pressing through the fingertips. We're coming onto our tiptoes, and we're going to place our knees towards the upper part of the arm, lifting the hips, bringing the big toes together. We're going to begin to shift forward, sending the heart forward, bending the elbows, chaturanga arms. And from here, you can begin to lift one foot, the other, maybe one foot, and then maybe the other as well. And hold, rounding the back belly button in and up. Feel free to play for a couple more seconds. We're all going to meet once again, Malasana. And we'll all meet in Malasana, pressing our sits bones down. If you're way too back on the mat, scoot yourself so you're sort of in the middle of the mat. And lift the legs, Navasana. We're going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Lengthen Ardha Navasana. Hold in Ardha Navasana. We're going to swing our arms next to our ears. Arms back to the sides of our legs. And Navasana. 2 more. From Navasana, lengthen Ardha Navasana. Lengthen the arms back next to our ears. Arms forward. Navasana. Last one. Lengthen the legs. Reach the arms back. Arms forward. And Navasana. We're going to do it one more time. Navasana. Ardha Navasana. Lengthen the arms back. Arms forward. Navasana. Placing our feet down onto the mat, we're going to come onto a forward fold. Scooting our hips up. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, forward fold. Coming all the way up to standing, hands in front of the heart. We're going to come into tree pose, shifting the weight towards your right foot, bringing the inside of the left foot inside of the right thigh, assisting it with the left hand if necessary, always keeping the hips squared facing forward. That might mean that the knee won't go out to the side as much. That's fine. We prioritize the hips. Arms reaching up. And keep the gaze soft. Inhaling. Keeping the breath soft. Now we're going to take the left ankle over the right thigh, like that supine figure 4 that we started with. We're going to come into a chair pose from here. Figure 4 chair pose. Scooting the hips back, lowering the hips a little lower, opening that left knee to really open the hip. And now gently, with control, we're going to take the left leg back into warrior 2. Warrior 2. Looking towards the front hand. Lengthening the right arm forward, coming into extended side angle. Right arm down, left arm next to the ear. Breathe. Lengthening the right leg, Trikonasana, reaching the left arm up, right arm down. Sorry, the left arm is actually going to stay next to the ear. And now, option to stay here, option to make it a little more invigorating, taking the right arm next to the ear as well. Holding the whole torso long. Keeping the torso as is, we're going to come into half moon, keeping the arms long next to the ears. Hold, pushing through the back heel, sides of the torso long, and release, coming into standing in the front of the mat. We're going to do that on the other side. Shifting the weight towards the left foot. Vert Kasana, tree pose on the left side. Lifting the right leg, bringing the right foot inside of the left leg. Reaching the arms up. Both hip crusts are facing forward. Both hip points are facing forward. And maybe that knee is opening a little further, and we're still keeping the hips squared. Soft breath as we begin to transition into that figure four chair pose. Taking the ankle over the thigh, and we begin to sit into our chair. Arms next to the ears. Gently, with control, lengthening the right leg back. Warrior two, opening the arms along the legs. Shoulders are over the hips, they're not surfing forward. And now with purpose, gently we begin to lengthen forward, looking for that extended side angle as we lower the left hand, reaching the right arm next to the ear. Making sure we're rotating the torso to open to the side of the mat. Keeping the right arm next to the ear, lengthen the left leg, coming into this version of Trikonasana. Again, pushing the hand against the leg to direct the torso to open a little more to the side. And if available, lift the left arm next to the ear. Holding here, torso long towards the front of the mat. Shifting the weight towards the left foot, keeping the arms and the torso as they are. Coming into this version of half moon. If it's too much, you can always lower the left hand down. Hold, and gently feet together, arms next to the torso. Last time, we're going to flow, meeting in down dog. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, plant the hands next to the feet. Step back, float back. Maybe coming through a chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Bringing the right foot into the nose, placing the foot between both hands, lowering the back knee, back of the foot, low lunge. Shifting the hips forward, yet keeping them squared, so we're not shifting them forward at the expense of them opening up to the side. And the tailbone reaches down, lengthening the low back. From here, we're going to reach, if it's too much for the knee, a blanket, a pillow, it's nice to place under your kneecap. If not, we're just going to bend the knee, reaching for the back foot with both hands. Bringing the heel in towards the glute. Gently releasing the foot, reaching the arms up, inhale, and on the exhale, lower the hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Here we go. Once again, bringing the right leg into the right armpit. And this time we're going to open the hip, lower the shin down for Pigeon Pose. We're rotating the right femur bone to open, lengthening the left leg back as we come into Pigeon Pose. Holding here. If it's too much on the low back, you can lengthen, reaching your arms a little forward so you can lengthen the low back a little more. But there's a little lift, so you're not just collapsing down. It's an active Pigeon Pose. There's sort of a sucking in from the inside of the pelvis. And you can either stay here or you're going to bend the back leg, reaching for it with both hands. Feeling that scooping. And gently release if you were holding it, reaching both arms up. Inhale, lower the hands down, take it back, downward facing dog. Other side. Bringing the left foot between both hands, lowering the back knee, the back of the foot. Low lunge, reaching the arms up. Palms of the hands are facing each other. And gently reaching for the leg, the foot behind you as you pull in the heel towards your right glute. Lifting of the heart, the crown of the head lengthening. Gently releasing the foot, lengthening the leg, reaching the arms up. Low lunge. Inhale. On the exhale, lower the hands, step the foot back, downward facing dog. Here we go. Pigeon pose on the other side. Left leg coming towards the front as you open the left thigh. You rotate it to open. Again, this is an active pigeon pose, so there's sort of like this sucking in, lift through the inner pelvis. The legs are pushing down to rebound up. Hands on the hips, feel free to stay here, or if you tried it on one side, you'll try it on this side. Reaching for the back foot with both hands. And the reason why we do it lifting a little, because this forces you a little more to keep your hips square. We're trying to keep both hips facing forward and gently release. Reaching the arms up and lower down. We're going to swing the right leg forward. Both legs towards the front of the mat. We're going to come into double pigeon pose. For many, this can be pretty deep hip opener. Feel free to take it step by step. I'll show you a modification. So, we're going to start with the right leg under, left leg on over. So we want to make sure that we're as specific with this as possible. So we really want the heel over the knee over the heel, and the shins stacked. Sits bones are grounded. If your knees is lifting a little bit, that's fine. It's part of the opening. It's part of the journey. If we're just completely crunching up, you're gonna you're gonna come into pigeon pose that we did originally just a second before. If not, we're gonna try to do double pigeon, stacking the shins and folding over the shins, the legs. Maybe creating a little pillow with our hands. Surrendering onto the ground. Gently lifting the torso up, switching sides, taking the left foot under, right leg over. Again, realigning the heel with the knee with the heel, stacking the legs as much as we can. And if folding over, again, it's too much, you take it to the step that feels right for you. Maybe sitting is where you need to stay, and that's fine. If you're folding over, fold over, creating maybe a little pillow for support, and gently release over your legs.
And gently lifting the torso. Planting both feet onto the mat, sort of mat width apart. Hands behind you, and you're going to let both knees fall over towards the right, creating two 90-degree angles with your legs. And this might be it for you as you walk your hands backwards, or you might lower onto your forearms, or even come all the way onto your backs. And if you can take it a little further, you can place the right foot over the left knee, feeling as you open the front of the left hip. And lifting the torso up gently as we begin to cool down, come onto the ground. Make sure that all the transitions begin to become gentle. And taking the knees over towards the other side as we gently lower down. I'm liking the word gentle today. Closing your eyes, if that's something that feels right for you. As you begin to wind down, feel the ground holding you. Feel the support of your mat. As you take deep, long breaths. And pressing yourself up once again onto lift the torso. Placing both feet onto the ground. Coming onto your backs on your mat. Bending the knees hip width apart. We're going to do 2 bridges, 2 wheels. Feel free to make this your own. 2 bridges and then no wheels, all bridges, all wheels, whatever feels right for you. Be cautious. Wheel is a deep pose. But this is your practice, so I know that you're moving accordingly. So from here, we're going to bring the heels under the knees. Arms next to the torso. Pushing the hips up as you interlace the hands under your hips. And shoving the shoulders under the chest. Lifting the hips, pressing the roof of the the chest towards the roof of the mouth. And breathe. Gently lower down. And once again lift. Pressing the hips up. Pressing the heels forward. Lifting. Pressing the heart towards the roof of the mouth. Inhale. And exhale low. Keeping the legs as they are. If you're going to continue bridges or wheels, I'm going to go with wheels. So we're going to bring our hands next to our ears. Elbows remain parallel to each other. And pushing my hips up, placing the crown of the head onto the mat. And lengthening the arms completely as I lift my hips. If my arms are lengthened, I begin to press my heart back. Taking as if I want to take my armpits over the wrists. Keeping my legs parallel to each other. They're not splurging out. And gently release down. Same way as you came up. This wasn't a back bend class, so take it slowly.
Yes, can you hear me?
And one more time, pushing your hands, pressing the crown of the head and lengthening the arms, lifting the hips. Holding for 3 more rounds of breath, keeping the legs parallel. Heart pressing back and gently coming back onto your mat. Same way you came up. Bringing both knees into your chest, massaging your back from side to side. Opening your arms in a T, letting the knees fall over towards the right as you look towards the left. And taking your legs over towards the other side, taking your head towards the opposite side as you easily twist, unwinding everything, all the hard work, all the energy you put, surrendering in it as you release on your mat. Bringing the knees back through center, finding your way into Shavasana as you lengthen the legs forward, arms next to the torso, palms of the hands facing up. And we're going to take 3 deep inhales in through the nose, sighing it all out through the mouth, releasing any tension that we can be carrying throughout the class, and surrendering in Shavasana, completely relaxed. I will leave you here to take a sweet, sweet Shavasana after all that work, after all that energy, sweat, and heat that we created. Enjoy it. Take everything you can from this class by really ending with a good, juicy Shavasana. Namaste.